Bill Belichick had an up-close view to Lawrence Taylor's career, and he sees a lot of the same traits in Texans DN J.J. Watt. Belichick was the New York Giants linebackers coach and then defensive coordinator for the first 10 years of Taylor's career there. Belichick comparing Watt to LT. Herm Edwards is here with some perspective, obviously former coach and player, and you played in the same division as LT from 81 to 85. I want to get your reaction on those comments, but first, Stephen A.
Skip, forgive me for diverting away. I just finished talking about Jason Garrett. I'd be remiss in neglecting Jeff Fisher. Jeff Fisher has been a head coach in the NFL for 21 years. I'm sure he's a nice man as well. 21 years, Houston, then Tennessee, then the St. Louis Rams. 21 years, 6 playoff appearances in 21 years. 3 division titles in 21 years. 1 conference championship in 21 years. No Super Bowl title. And 15 of the 21 years, he has not made the playoffs, and he has not had a record above 500 since he was coaching in Tennessee in 2008. But Hugh Jackson gets fired after an 8-8 season in Oakland. And he has to be an offensive coordinator in Cincinnati, waiting for an opportunity to become a head coach.
He's doing a fantastic job.
I'm just saying.
You guys are hot today,
Coach.
Yeah.
You guys are hot.
Are we good, Coach? Are we good, Coach?
I'm leaving it alone. I ain't going there.
All right. They're on fire.
Go ahead, Skip.
Have I voiced my disapproval of Jeff Fisher on this show?
Many times.
I think you have.
Many times.
I think you have.
Actually, you've done it far more than I have.
All right, Herm, let's get into it. What were your thoughts on Belichick's comments comparing Watt and LT?
I'm going to have to agree with Bill.
Yeah.
In the fact that LT was a little bit more versatile than JJ. Not saying JJ couldn't do some of the things that LT did, but he was in an era too where the run was more prolific when Lawrence Taylor played. I mean, it was the era of the running backs, and you know, he was a disruptor just like JJ Watt. I mean, you had to know when you lined up word 56 lined up, no different than JJ Watt. I mean, he's versatile, great athlete. Big man, physical, does everything, you know, like Coach said. And Coach coached him. So, you know, he coached LT.
Yeah.
I mean, so he has a good feel for him. He could wreck your offense.
How different that he could stand up and move around, right?
And you know, and he was good in coverage. He didn't get a lot of credit for that. I mean, he could cover backs out of the backfield, tight ends. He could run. JJ Watt can run too. They're both disruptors. He was an MVP in '86, I believe.
He was.
Now, J.J. Watt's going to be a repeater of the MVP award, I think, defensively for multiple years because of what he does.
He's won it twice already.
Yeah, and you think about LT now. He played with Harry Carson. He's a pretty good backer, too, now. And Van Pelt, pretty good backer. And Brian Kelly. But he was the guy. I mean, he was a guy when you, even as a defensive player, and J.J. Watt gets this same thing, or as a coach, or as an offensive player, when you're not on the field, you stand up to watch him. I mean, you actually stand up to watch him, especially in big moments. You go, where's 99 at, or where's 56 at? Because they're about, it's like, you know, when you watch offense, you go, okay, the quarterback, we're going to watch the wide receiver, we get it. But it's very not common where you stand up and watch the defensive player. The only guy I ever watched when I came in the league, and you'll appreciate this, and Stephen A. will too, we played the Detroit Lions my rookie year in Detroit. Landry was the quarterback. And I can remember when Lem Barney came in the game. Because the corner got hurt. He was a veteran guy, wasn't the start of it. And Lem Barney actually came in the game and got a standing ovation.
Wow.
A defensive player, Lem Barney. And I can remember watching Lem Barney as a young guy, and I got up from the bench and went, that's Lem Barney. That is Lem Barney.
No, I felt that way about Dion, too.
Okay, well, yeah, okay. But those two guys they're difference makers.
All right.
They're stars. There's no doubt.
Fire away.
I'll defer to y'all being around the game longer, playing and coaching it before doing this, you covering the sport for 40 years. But I will tell you that as a youngster, growing up during my teenage years and then in my early 20s, watching Lawrence Taylor perform was something sensational. I love me some J.J. Watt. He's big time. The 20.5 sacks he's had in 2 of the last 3 years, Lawrence Taylor only did that once in his entire career, even though it was a different time. And like you said, they ran the ball more. So you're right. But here's where I somewhat part ways with Coach Belichick, yourself, whatever. In terms of game planning and having the guy to watch, without question, J.J. Watt is right there with Lawrence Taylor. But Lawrence Taylor, to me, there was more of a fear factor. J.J. Watt doesn't do that. You know he's going to tackle you. You know he might sack you. He'll jump up and block your passes. He'll impede your progress in some way, shape, form, or fashion. But Lawrence Taylor scared the living hell out of you. Because this is the best way I can explain it. J.J. Watt, who's got about 45 tackles, already 13 and a half of Houston's 30 sacks this year, okay? J.J. Watt is the guy that barks. Lawrence Taylor was the guy that had everybody barking with him. Lawrence Taylor was the kind of guy that turned everybody, all the defensive players around him into Rough Riders and straight up dogs, because Lawrence Taylor was out there howling. Like, you knew you had to do your job, and that's it. You know, give him a little time, he's going to get to the quarterback. Give him a little time, he's going to make a difference. But you found yourself wanting to step up and make your own difference because of what Lawrence Taylor was bringing to the table. You didn't know what side he was coming from. You didn't know. I mean, and not only that, the rules were different, so you didn't have to worry about hitting the quarterback upside the head. Joe Theismann, I mean, God rest his soul. You got to remember, I love Joe Theismann, still alive and kicking, but he ain't kicking as much as he used to after that leg got broke by Lawrence Taylor. Not intentionally, of course, because Lawrence Taylor jumped up and was waving the paramedics. Come on over. That was scary.
That made LT's mystique, because it was Monday Night Football,
right.
and it was right there for the world to see.
I mean, and he almost cried because he was so worried about Theismann, because that's how vicious it was.
It was a basic compound fracture where the bone comes through the skin.
He didn't mean to do it, of course. He just wanted to sack him. He didn't mean to do that. Yeah. But I'm just saying, that mystique, I don't see anyone, and it might not be J.J. Watt's fault. Look, Khalil Mack is coming. He ain't going to be Lawrence Taylor. It may not be his fault. It may be the fault of the league rules and how you have to guard against so many things that you can't necessarily be as vicious as you once were. But back in the day, Lawrence Taylor on that football field, you know, prancing back and forth, just scowling and stalking us. I don't see any defensive player that has instilled that level of fear. And as much as I love J.J. Watt and as great as he is, I don't get that from him.
That's a good point.
I am very with that point. Now, back to what Bill Belichick said and his motivation for saying what he did say. It is my humble opinion from a distance that Bill Belichick went out of his way to praise J.J. Watt because his quarterback by the name of Tom Brady has taken 32 quarterback hits over the last 3 games behind a decimated offensive line, and they are on their way to Houston, Texas for a Sunday night game featuring J.J. Watt. So I think he went out of his way to at least go to the point of he's in the same general category of LT. That's not saying he's LT
well, what's
or
he
better
hoping
than
for, Skip? It ain't like J.J. Watt ain't gonna hit him because of it.
Well, you got to butter him up a little bit. You got to say something nice. That was for Belichick. That was like gushing. Was that not like gushing for Bill Belichick? He doesn't say that about anybody else.
It was gushing, but I'm just saying maybe because it was factual as opposed. I mean, ain't gonna make J.J. Watt let up.
That's one of those things where he's setting you up and then he beats you by 20.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I hope so. But look. It's not factual, because I'm offended for Lawrence Taylor's sake that Bill would even go to put him in the same general category. It's too soon for that. This is J.J. Watt's 5th year. I've told you before, I'm not completely sold. I can't even go to all-time great yet.
I don't know how you can.
Okay, well, I can't because of the records. I look at what he's done so far. 2 of his first 4 years, their team was just flat-out bad. And now they've got Clowney on the opposite side. I don't know what's going on with him, but I never even see him. Is he a bust? I don't know.
Bust.
You would
struggling
think,
right now.
Yeah, okay.
Struggling.
Bust.
Okay, so we get it that he's made 3 Pro Bowls in 4 years, says J.J. Watt, 2 times Defensive Player of the Year. He's played in 4 playoff games. 2 were at home against Andy Dalton, and they won those 2 games at Houston, okay? And you don't put a whole lot of stock in that, right? So he's 2-2 in the postseason. Lawrence Taylor's teams, featuring Lawrence Taylor, were 10-5 in the postseason. That's spectacular. 10-5, and he won 2 Super Bowl rings and could have maybe won a couple of more, but that's how good that team was because of that player. I've never seen anything like that player. Everything you just said, he lifted the whole show up. He lifted the offense up. The offense played with more confidence because he could wreck the other team's offense.
No doubt.
I've just not seen that. I don't see that yet from J.J. Watt. And again, Lawrence Taylor made 10 Pro Bowls in 13 years and 8 times was voted first-team All-Pro. I mean, he was just like a no-doubt lock first ballot Hall of Famer in his first year. He won Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. I knew it his first year. I said, that's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Okay? I just need to see more. Is that fair? Can I see more from J.J. Watt?
And he's got a problem with this. I mean, there's no consistency on the offensive side of football for the guy.
Yeah.
To lift anybody. Who was he lifting?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? I mean,
you
got Phil Simms over there, and he's a pretty good quarterback, and you got some good runners, and okay, well, I mean, so I get all that, but he is a guy that when you break the huddle in today's world, 99, the count, you got to set the count. Where's he at?
Okay. Is it easier to double team 99 because he's more of an interior
Probably,
player?
yeah. It's a little bit more, yeah.
Okay,
and we open formations up a lot more. Where LT, I mean, there wasn't a lot of open formations early in his career, but you're right. You're talking about a guy that just that could raise havoc.
You bring up a very valid point, and Skip, where I would challenge you on your point is that and you've lamented the state of the game in terms of the changes that have taken place. And so you have to look at how the game has changed and how it affects defensive players. I bring up to you constantly I'm trying to tell you right now, I mean, I can't talk to Ray Lewis about the defense in the NFL. He loses his mind because he feels Ray Lewis literally is of the mindset that defensive players should come together and go up to the league office and address their concerns. He thinks that it should be, bloated about, bloviated about in the media. They think it's so crazily unfair. And so when you look at it from that perspective and to see J.J. Watt and the kind of impact that he has in today's game where all the odds are stacked against him. And then you've got quarterbacks that there's no continuity. All you got is DeAndre Hopkins. There's other guys, like Short and others that can play. But in the end, what it comes down to is you look at some guys on Houston, you have no continuity at the quarterback position. Arian Foster's out for the year. So when you look at it from that perspective, Bill O'Brien is doing an outstanding job. And we were critical of him early in the year.
I don't know. I can't go to outstanding.
Well, I'm saying outstanding because, look, we thought they were dead. We thought they were dead.
They would be if they were in any division but that one.
I'm just saying, they were 2-5.
It's the NFC East.
They're 4-1 in their last 5 games.
Last quick point.
They're 4-5.
4-1. Before the year started, I believe it was NFL.com ranked J.J. Watt the most valuable player in all of football.
Defensive player.
No.
I'm saying what they said.
Player.
I'm saying what they said was, you and I said they were wrong. I'm saying he is the most valuable defensive player.
Defense. I'll give you that.
Right.
But he's not more valuable than Brady or Aaron Rodgers or name a quarterback. It's a quarterback's game. I'm sorry.
It is a quarterback's game. There's no doubt.
You talked about Taylor commanding attention on the sideline here. Taylor, last defensive player to win the league's MVP award, that was 1986, long time ago. Belichick also said, this would be a good time for JJ to rest if he wanted to.
All right. I just want you to know, you're still my man. We good.
Always good.
I'm just saying.
Always good.
We just
that was never a question.
We just letting America know, you don't want to go there. We know that.
We're good.
Everybody's good.
Everybody's good, and the Texans and Patriots play on Sunday at Houston. That'll be good as well. Up next, Christian McCaffrey makes interesting comments about his chances of winning the Heisman this Saturday. Don't miss his comments and the guys' reaction next. Herm, appreciate you being with us.
Thank you.
Have a great day.